Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notifications button. Share it with your friends and let's go on with the video. You may have heard of stories like Bloody Mary, Bigfoot and more which most likely kept you up at night. Parents used to use these stories to scare children. Today I will tell you about the urban legends of Japan. You might want to wrap yourself up in your comfiest blanket. Because from human sacrifices to haunted tunnels, these real Japanese legends give us the creeps. This is the 7 terrifying Japanese urban legends based on true stories. Number 1. Howling Inunaki Tunnel. Whether or not Inunaki village ever existed is the real question. Since the 1990s, there have been recurring rumors about it in Japan and online. This abandoned settlement is allegedly situated deep within the Inunaki countryside of Kyushu's Fukuoka Prefecture and is only reachable via the Inunaki Tunnel. According to the legends, everyone who enters the village will die violently. These myths and tales also seem to describe some type of official sign that reads, "The Japanese Constitution is not in effect past here," which implies that anyone entering is on their own to face the impending real or paranormal horrors. Dogs barking and horrifying screams may be heard coming from the tunnels inside. However, the stories were probably influenced by a horrifying murder that truly occurred in Inunaki Tunnel. Due to its isolation and infrequent traffic, the tunnel was a favorite hangout for gangs. Ameyama Koichi, 20, was abducted, robbed, and tortured by a group of teenagers one afternoon in December 1988. He was then burned alive deep below the tunnel. Inunaki Tunnel, also known as Howling Dog Tunnel in Japanese, is now regarded as one of the country's most haunted locations. Its entrance is blocked by large concrete bricks, though adventurers manage to get in regardless. The noises of barking dogs and horrifying screams are said to come from deep inside the tunnel, and locals claim that electronic gadgets, including their cars, frequently break down there. Even Takashi Shimizu, the creator of Ju-On and the director of the 2020 film Howling Village, took inspiration from the legend of the tunnel and village. Number 2. The doll that grows human hair. According to legend, Ikichi Suzuki bought his younger sister Kikuko a traditional Japanese okappa, bob-cut hairdo, doll in Hokkaido in 1918. Kikuko sadly passed away from a cold, and the family retained the doll and gave it the name Okiku as a tribute to their daughter. Over time, though, the family became aware of a strange change in the doll. Its hair was lengthening. The doll was cared for by the family because they thought it contained the restless spirit of their late daughter, and they did so until they gave it to Monanji Temple. The doll is still there, gently sprouting human hair. You can visit Okiku, but photography isn't allowed. Today, even after a few trims from the temple's priests, the doll's hair has grown past its knees. It has also supposedly upped its terror. The priests claim to have nightmares of Okiku, and visitors say the doll's mouth is slowly opening and sprouting baby teeth. Number 3. Human sacrifice in Maruoka Castle. Up to the 16th century, a sort of human sacrifice known as a tobashira was carried out in Japan. In order to please the gods, who would defend the structure from invasions and natural calamities, lords would wall up live victims in pillars, dams, and other building foundations. It was also a term for employees who had been buried alive. One of the most well-known Hitobashira tales is set in Maruoka Castle in Sakai, Fukui Prefecture. No matter how much it was strengthened, one of the castle walls continued falling apart as it was being built. The castle lord was then advised to create a Hitobashira. The castle lord's vow was broken. Ashizu, a peasant woman with one eye and kids, was picked as the sacrifice. After the rite, the destitute mother merely requested that her sons be made samurai. Ashizu was interred beneath the main pillar of the castle keep as a result of the lord's decision. Sadly, the castle lords broke their word, thus her boys were never trained as samurai. After that, every spring rain caused the moat to flood, making it impossible to trim the algae. The locals built a tomb to placate Ashizu's soul because they believed the tears were those of her grief. Additionally, a poem was handed down through the ages. The rain that falls when the season for cutting algae arrives is the rain that makes the poor Ashizu's sorrowful tears come to mind. Number 4. The Red Room Curse. The origin of this contemporary urban legend is a death-themed flash animation called The Red Room, which gained popularity online after an 11-year-old girl in Sasebo, Nagasaki, fatally stabbed a friend at school. The killer loved the Red Room cartoon. The victim is alone in a room when the curse first appears as a pop-up on their computer screen. It asks, with a red background and black characters, As the victim desperately tries to dismiss the pop-up, additional words start to appear until it reads, "Do you enjoy being in the red room?" Red takes over the entire screen, and a list of previous victims displays. It is unknown if something supernatural intervenes or if the victim is forced to do the crime on their own. They are slaughtered nonetheless, and their blood covers the room's walls. So the Red Room curse was born. Number 5. AKA Monto. On the bathroom floor, where victims are most exposed, AKA Monto, Red Cloak, confronts them. He has a long red cloak and a white mask on. The legend has several different versions. In some stories, he's holding red and blue tissue paper, in others, he's just wearing his cape. But each time, he requests the victim to select a color. Is it red or blue? Like the slit-faced Japanese woman who inquired, "Am I pretty?" It makes no difference how you respond, since AKA Monto will still stab you to death and leave blood all over the stall if you select red. If you respond in the color blue, AKA Monto either suffocates you or suckers out all of your blood, leaving you lifeless and blue-faced on the ground. Therefore, your best option is to either avoid the fiend or flee. Every English teacher in Japan can vouch for the eerie feeling of being in a sizable, deserted classroom. The 2015 American TV series Scream Queens and countless more movies and video games all feature this mythology. Some people think AKA Monto is based on a real-life serial killer from 1906 in Fukui Prefecture named Aogeto, Blue Blanket, but that is only another urban legend. Although the roots of AKA Monto are unknown, the Japanese school bathrooms where the gruesome killings take place are probably what inspired it. Every English teacher in Japan can attest to being in a frighteningly enormous, vacant school with an ancient, run-down bathroom that is farthest distant from the others, and who wants to try to take a number 2 while answering questions. Number 6. Japan's Bloody Mary. Japan also has its own Bloody Mary urban legend, which is related to bathroom terror. Similar to her Western counterparts, Toar no Hanako-san, or Hanako of the toilet, is a ghost that can be called. You might obtain a response if the bold, or foolish, enter a washroom on the 3rd floor, knock on the 3rd stall 3 times, and inquire, "Hanako, are you there?" Little Hanako with a red skirt will be revealed as the door slowly creaks open. Her hair is arranged in a conventional bun. The victim is then dragged into the bathroom and never seen again once she has grabbed them. In other versions, Hanako will ask children if they need a friend. Regardless of their answer, Hanako will drag the children under the stall into their doom. Never trust a Japanese ghost, kids. Like AKA Monto, Hanako's origins are unclear, although folklorist Matthew Myers says her story is as recent as the 1950s. Most accounts say she is the ghost of a child who hid in her school's bathroom and died in a bombing raid during World War II. It's likely just another case of school bathrooms being a lot creepier than they have any right to be. Number 7. The Cursed Poem. Yaso Saijo is best known for his poem Tamino's Hell. The verse, which was written in 1919 by Saijo after he had lost his family in the First World War, relates the tale of a young kid who enters hell and contains ominous and unsettling images. The first line reads, "The younger sister threw up fire, the younger sister threw up blood, and Tamino the cutie threw up glass beads. Tamino entered hell on his own." It's assumed that the story, which Saijo left up to the reader's interpretation, is about a young child who killed their parents. Tamino travels via the poem to the Buddhist hell that is intended for people who murder their parents. Tamino travels via the poem to the Buddhist hell that is intended for people who murder their parents. Some people read the poem as being about either child abuse or war. If read aloud, a dreadful fate awaits you from which there is no turning back. Regardless of the poem's original intent, some claim that if the entire poem is recited aloud, it would result in death, illness, and headaches. The 1974 film Dina ni Shizu, directed by Terama Shuji, was based on Tamino's Hell, pastoral, to die in the country. Rumors regarding the poem were started when the director later passed away from liver sickness. However, the likely catalyst for this urban legend was in 2004, when author Yomoda Inuiko wrote Kokoro wa Koragaru Ishi no Yuni, My Heart is Like a Stone Rolling Around, based on Tamino's Hell. There, Inuiko wrote, "If you by chance happen to read this poem out loud, you will suffer from a terrible fate which you cannot escape." Are there any other scary Japanese urban legends you know of that we missed? Let us know in the comments. See you next video. Johnny.